Now, Cinemasaurus presents 5 monster-sized stacks of our...
Now, normally on the Thursdays, we usually do the 5 facts about X film. And obviously, with Kaiju Mania, it's been predominantly Godzilla films. Well, it's only been Godzilla films. But with Halloween on Monday just gone by, I was like, well, what do I do for this one? Because do I do 5 horror films? Do I do 5 facts about Hellraiser since I spoke about it on Monday? But instead, I'm going to do my 5 favourite mediums of The Thing. No, not from the Addams Family, not from the Fantastic Four, and not Godzilla versus The Thing, not Mothra either. No, I'm going to be talking about The Thing, aka The Thing from Another World, aka Who Goes There. Now, there is 5 ways to kind of enjoy the story of this, and I'm going to go through my favourite top 5. So, coming in at number 5, it's Horror Express. Now, this film stars Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, and it's a role where they're actually on the same team for once, not trying to kill each other. So, it's kind of got a bit of the Who Goes There plot, because all of them are based on this book, Who Goes There. That's the original story. So this takes elements from that about how you never know who the thing is, and you've got it's a man with glowing red eyes, and then he can transfer himself into another man. But none of this is Antarctica. This is all set on a moving train. So Christopher Lee finds this prehistoric thing. He then wants to take it on the train, and because it's a new science experiment kind of thing, it's a new thing in science that it changes like a caveman. So, but this caveman kind of has been possessed by an alien, as far as we're concerned, and he then possesses another man, and he sucks the brains out of him, and his brains are completely smoothed over, completely dry. I mean, there's a lot of drastic changes from the novel, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of all loosely based on Who Goes There. Now, the film itself is actually really enjoyable, and if you've not seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's a fun flick, and it's got Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, so what more do you want? Number 4 is The Thing from Another World. Now, I know it seems wrong because this is the original film, and I'm putting it at number 4. Maybe it's because I only watched it recently. I only actually got the DVD not too long ago. Give it a whirl, and personally weren't a massive fan of it. I did like some of it, and the thing himself was quite interesting. How he kind of see him as a vegetable almost. The fact that he can kind of regenerate and create other vegetations of himself is. But he's not. He doesn't ever become another person. The Thing. We always know who the Thing is. It's just a giant man who looks a little bit like a Frankenstein knockoff. So that kind of element, because that real who is it kind of thing is one of the best things about the plot in Who Goes There. It's like you never know, you don't know who you can trust. But in this film, you know you can trust everyone, because none of them are going to be the Thing, because it never infects anyone. And that's the part of the story that I like the most. So seeing it in this film not exist is kind of a real weak point for me, and for that reason it's 4th on the list. I mean, obviously it's a lot closer to the story, Who Goes There, than Horror Express. But Horror Express is trying to be its own film with just elements of it. So, number 4, The Thing from Another World. Number 3, The Thing, 2011. Now, I saw this in the cinema, and initially I really didn't like it. I was like, they've just sabotaged it, they've just put CGI on it, what are they doing, they've bastardised it. But I watched it again recently, and it ties in with John Carpenter's The Thing really, really well. I mean, surprisingly well. There's lots of little things like the axe being left on the wall, the 2-headed creature thing, the husky dog where it's the thing at the end of that film and at the start of John Carpenter's. Some of the things they tie in really well, and for that alone, for the fact that they didn't just completely remake the film and just try to make a prequel instead, is something that I'm a lot happier with. I'd rather, if you ever try and make a remake of a film now, why not just make a prequel or a sequel instead? Just something that adds to that story. And to be fair, it kind of adds to John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, the special effects nowhere near as good. CGI will just never top that, and things like that. But overall, it's a decent film, and yeah, enjoyable. Number 2. Now, it's the novel Who Goes There by John Campbell. Now, I read this book recently as well, and I have to say it is a tough read. It's very wordy and very descriptive, and not in a necessarily good way. It almost tries too hard in describing, and it's almost obnoxious in some of the ways that it like displays and describes things. It's not a brilliant book by any means. There's a story with a line in there. You do actually find out what the actual thing looks like in its normal form as well. It's kind of a blue man alien with big 3 red eyes and stringy hair, and that kind of is interesting. You actually know see what the thing looks like. There's also a bit where you find out about creating a spaceship kind of thing. It's kind of done in John Carpenter's, but not to the effect it's done in the book. And in the book, it's a bit too much for me. Basically, it's only number 2 because of the premise, because it was this. None of these would exist without this. And number 1 is obviously John Carpenter's The Thing. Again, I rewatched this recently. Had to go on this big horror marathon. Just was really kind of obsessing over The Thing over this past 31 days. And yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant. Everything about it. The special effects are amazing. The whole premise of who is The Thing. It really, because I couldn't even remember certain bits, especially when you've got McCready testing the blood, and even I was in suspense again because I couldn't quite remember who it was. So when the blood boils in, like, oh shit, it's him and stuff, and that is just absolutely brilliant. It's amazing. It's probably my favourite horror film, or if not, it's definitely up there. It's probably one of the best horror films of its era, and now this is a film that cannot be topped. So I really hope we don't ever get a remake, but it's inevitable. It probably will happen in another 15-20 years or something like that, but it's definitely my favourite iteration of Who Goes There, The Thing. And that's it. That's my top 5. I would probably recommend all 5 of them, to be honest. I mean, the book not so much, not unless you really want to know more about it. It is hard. It is quite a hard read. It's a tough read, but it is the originator of it. So none of these would exist if it wasn't for that book. So Horror Express, I recommend. The Thing from Another World, yeah, it's nice to see where the kind of like The Thing was first made into a film, and the opening title sequence is amazing. John Carpenter reused it. Obviously, the 2011 Thing is kind of good little precursor to John Carpenter's, and obviously John Carpenter's you just have to watch. If you've not seen it, then there's something wrong with you, because it's just freaking amazing. So that's kind of it for Halloween. I know it's gone Halloween now. It's actually close as a bonfire night, but hey ho, that's the case. So on Monday we're back to Kaiju Mania, Godzilla 98. Join us. Hope you've liked this. If you like this kind of stuff like this, just give us a thumbs up or a comment. Maybe do more things like this. Arrivederci.